Part 25. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 241. Shadowju wraps around the blue sky and turns into black shadows that keep moving back and forth. Not long after, the two returned to Blue Star and came to the Eternal Tower. A white cloud held Lao Lan, suspended outside the 99th floor. A carefree voice came from the tower. "Teacher, Mr. Lan. Tell me what's going on." Yingju in the black mist obviously realized that something was not right. His own situation is somewhat special and he is very sensitive to talent. After listening to Ye Bai's introduction, everyone present noticed that there was something wrong with Lan Tiankai's talent, but they tacitly agreed not to say it out loud. How can an ordinary talent have so many effects? 9 effects have been unlocked one after another, which looks more like the 9 awakenings of SSS level talents. But the effect is too weak. It's barely even SS level, and it's even worse than SSS. What kind of talent would he need to compare with Su Qingfeng? What kind of bicycle would he need? Facing Yingju's question, Xiaoao was silent for a moment, seeming to formulate his words. He spoke again. "I once mentioned to the teacher that 100 years ago, I made a deal with a certain existence." Lan Tiankai remained silent, and Xian was just a melon eater. No one else can get involved in the matter between master and disciple. Yingju nodded, indicating that he remembered this matter. 3 times I helped him, and 3 times he helped me. Xiaoao yawned, feeling a little tired. "Today, I used up my second chance." Yingju said coldly, "If I remember correctly, you have done 2 things for him. Right. If I take the time to chop him to death, I won't have to do the last thing." Lan Tiankai. "It's impossible for an 800-year-old grandfather to fix it? Are you so hardcore when it comes to bugs now? If the card fails mechanically, how about physical card?" Xiaoao shook his head. "He will help me one more time." "Whatever." The conversation between master and disciple ended here. Xiaoao looked at Lan Tiankai. "Lao Lan, thank you for your hard work. But it doesn't matter." Obviously, Lan Tiankai also had to pay a price for his 3 awakenings. "From today on, you cannot leave the Eternal Tower," Xiaoao said slowly. "During the day, you can stay in the levels you have cleared, the Eternal Core City, and the exclusive space. You can clear the level from 12 to 6:10 in the evening, and the rewards for completing the level will be halved. Leave the Eternal Tower before level 990, unless you go with the strongest, otherwise." Even if Xiaoao didn't say what happened next, everyone present would understand. There is always a price to pay for bugs. "I thought I wouldn't be allowed to enter the tower." After hearing Xiaoao's words, Lan Tiankai felt relieved. What a big deal. It's just one more Eternal Tower otaku. What's more, Lan Tiankai himself is famous for researching the Eternal Tower and creating strategies. This kind of life is not boring at all for him. Break through levels when you can and improve your strength as much as possible. When you can't pass a level, study other levels and complete the strategy. Good. After Xiaoao finished speaking, he separated half of the white clouds and sent the blue sky back to the 8th floor of the Eternal Tower. Yingju did not leave immediately. "Shuro will come to you and ask about the most powerful mark." Xiaoao nodded. "I understand, I will tell you truthfully." Shadow 9. Can't you lie? This time, it was Xiaoao's turn to be silent. Although no one spoke, Yingju felt that a few words seemed to ring in his ears. "Boring. It's up to you." Yingju gave up the topic and said instead, "If the news about Shura's job change is released tonight, that kid will have to stay in the abyss for half a day." Good. Above the white clouds, silence fell again. The words are divided into 2 parts. After Yingju left with Lan Lao, Ye Bai felt that he had been cheated. Soon, his feelings were confirmed. A traceless voice came. Exiled immortal, tell Shura how to save the world. Lan Bangxian nodded and said, don't use it after you learn it. Yeah, bye. Since I'm not allowed to use it, can I stop learning? Don't worry, I haven't drawn my sword yet. Yabai breathed a sigh of relief when he heard his second brother's relief. Then, before his eyes, his health bar began to plummet. In almost an instant, Yabai's million health dropped to only 1 point. What is supposed to come will eventually come. There was no feeling of being struck, nor was there any pain. Yabai was as if he had undergone a painless minimally invasive surgery, but his face was a little pale. Acquire the skill Surprise the Sky. Tianatian King, after being attacked by fatal damage, the health value will be locked to 1, and at the same time, it will slash forward, causing 1 point of damage. The life lock lasts for 5 seconds, during which time shields and treatments cannot be obtained. After the life lock is released, the physical/magical defense returns to 0 for 10 minutes. Consumption, none. Cooling, 24 hours. Yeah, bye. What about the promised high damage? Why is there only 1 point? Fortunately, Yabai didn't rely on saving the sky to do harm. In terms of output, Yabai has already figured it out. But in addition to low damage, Wan Tianqing also has many negative effects. Unable to recover blood or gain shield within 5 seconds, and both resistances will be cleared after 5 seconds. You're cool for 5 seconds and then you're a coward for 10 minutes. Looking at Wan Tianqing's introduction, Yabai fell into deep thought. As long as it's used in turning the sky, if it's okay in the Eternal Tower, you can still be resurrected after death. Use turning the sky in reality and the abyss plane. If you cannot defeat the enemy within 5 seconds, you will put yourself in an extremely dangerous situation. The swordsman in white walked in front, leaving Yabai with a shadow behind. His second brother, okay. But Yabai is different. They are all dying. A typical irritable brother, I will kill you all when I draw my sword. Without killing the enemy, Yabai felt uneasy when he fled, and there was a hidden danger after all. However, as a blood-locking skill, it is better than nothing. This skill is exactly what Lan Bangxian said, don't use it after you learn it. After being slashed by his second brother, he only had 1 point of health left, but it did no substantial damage to his body. The power of holding the sky is in Yabai's hand. Once it is used, there is only one result, to lift all the enemies, and then run away. Take you for a spin in the abyss. 2. With the blood locked for 5 seconds, quickly evacuate the battlefield. Follow up. The latter is the best choice for those who are serious about it. What are we going to do now? Now he is really about to die, with only 1 breath left. Therefore, Yabai could only choose to kill all the enemies and then run away. The most important thing is, mental critical attack. When the blood volume drops to 1 drop, it is impossible not to run away. 1. After entering the blood lock state for 5 seconds, hack all surrounding enemies to death. In this way, there is no need to worry about side effects or anything like that. Yabai couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. It's like cutting off useless organs like the heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, and still living well. As long as you run fast enough, you don't have to worry about losing blood. The 5th demon god still owes 3 swords. It is only right to pay back the debt. One is reckless and the other is cowardly. He is reckless and cowardly. The former is obviously the original intention of creating Wu Hansheng. Yabai, who was pale and sick, asked. Even if there is only 1 drop of blood left, he is still alive. There should be 2 correct ways to use Wan Tiansheng. For Yabai, there is essentially no big difference between losing 1 drop of blood and having only 1 drop of blood left. Being able to kill the devil is like going out for a walk to buy groceries. The second brother should be considered the only one. 5 seconds to run away is really a lot of time. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 242. The second brother walked in front. Lan Bangxian and Ye Bai followed. From the moment he met Lan Bangxian, the other party's eternal sea invisibly affected the surroundings, allowing Ye Bai to walk in the void. Lan Tiankai is Lan Lao, and Lan Bangxian is Lan Tiankai's father. So, calling him Daddy Blue isn't too much, right? Ye Bai subconsciously wanted to get closer to Father Lan. It's a little more secure. Heavenly King Sword, no, you are not safe. Before Ye Bai could take a step closer, the sword on Lan Bangxian's back made an eager sword cry. Ye Bai is in danger. Father Lan was not surprised and said, when you reach level 600, you can try your sword. Isn't it appropriate? Ye Bai said seriously. Let's compete fairly among the same level. I don't have SSS level talent. Father Lan shook his head and continued. If you defeat me, I will help you find a sword box to warm and nourish the Heavenly King Sword to a stronger state. The Heavenly King Sword is SS level equipment. The idiot forging master from the Demon Clan once said that the Heavenly King Sword has the potential to be upgraded to the SSS level. If you want to talk about this, then I will agree. Ye Bai decided to carry out the prostitution to the end and asked. Can you give it to me if you don't win? Father Lan was stunned for a moment, thought it was interesting, and nodded. Good. Giving a sword box to a swordsman is a sign of a hero cherishing a hero. What's more, in order for Lan Tiankai to awaken his talent 3 times, Shuro worked hard and made great achievements. Giving him a sword box is nothing. Anyway, Lan Bangxian has a better one. After receiving a positive reply, Ye Bai said seriously. I admit defeat, can you give me the sword box now? My family is poor and I really lack SSS level equipment, no, I mean, I really want a sword box. Lan Bangxian stopped and took a serious look at Shuro for the first time. Interesting. Good. To Ye Bai's surprise, Father Lan actually acquiesced to his bug-causing behavior. The next moment, Ye Bai regretted it. Lan Bangxian turned around, looked into the void, and said, remember. A sword slave appeared, holding a bamboo tube and an expression on his face. In a certain month of a certain year, Lan Bangxian bound his hands and feet to suppress his realm. He fought with Shura at the same level and won a great victory. Every time Lan Bangxian said a word, the sword slave would carve a word on the bamboo tube. When Ye Bai saw sword slave, a prompt popped up in front of him. Incarnate as a sword, not human. S-level equipment, level 899, 3rd level God of War combat power. The sword slave is actually the incarnation of the sword? Ye Bai didn't expect that it would be like this. Among the 3 forces created by the most powerful one, Ye Bai has the most contact with shadow and understands it the most deeply. Many people who were killed will appear in the shadows. In other words, this is the source of life in the shadow. The Wanwu Pavilion is the most transcendent, but the most public-facing. Zhao Lin's dream was to join Wanwu Pavilion and become a staff member. If a force wants to grow, it must have support from others. Ye Bai never expected that there was no one among the sword slaves, they were all swords. After thinking about it, Xuemeng was even worse. As Wu Hen's adopted son, he obviously has so many good swords in his family, but he doesn't have any swords. Play with a hammer. After Lan Bangxian finished speaking, the sword slave carved the words on the bamboo tube and presented it with both hands. But Father Lan shook his head and spoke again. Take it to the Wanwu Pavilion for auction and name it the battle between Blue Banished Immortal and Shura. No matter how much anyone bids, it is 1 gold coin more than the other party's price. This thing is not for sale. After one operation, Ye Bai was dazzled. Is this okay? He is indeed a father who can raise Lan Tiankai. The bloodline of the Lan family is a bit scary. The sword slave put away the bamboo tube and disappeared into the void. Wilhen, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke. Zhang Xiaoao said that his teacher asked him to spread the news about your job transfer. Ye Bai was stunned for a moment and immediately understood what Master Zhu meant. At the moment, Ye Bai has not returned to Blue Star. The demon gods knew that Lan Tiankai had escaped from the Suture Abyss, and Shura also left with him. If the news of Shura's job change is heard in the Eternal Tower, it means that Shura returned to the Eternal Tower and successfully changed his job. In fact, Shura's true body is still in the Abyss. A small deception can add an extra bumper to Ye Bai's safety in the Abyss. Ye Bai nodded, okay. Xiaoao is more accepting of death. Since he promised Shura to postpone the news, even if the teacher asked him to announce it, Xiaoao would ask Shura for his opinion first. If Ye Bai disagrees, Ye Bai doesn't dare to disagree. That's okay. Arrive. Wilhen stopped, and while the three of them were strolling around, they had arrived at the fifth abyss plane. It was a little different from what Ye Bai imagined. The portal of the fifth abyss opened wide, showing no intention of stopping Wilhen. The fifth demon god was just about to greet him. The desire to die is clearly revealed. Ye Bai rubbed his chin and thought. The fifth demon god should put up a banner, warmly welcome Wilhen, the strongest human race, to come to the fifth abyss to guide the work. Many monsters in the fifth abyss lay on the ground shivering. They knew that the banquet was about to begin. The fifth demon god, who has been tortured by nightmares for more than 70 years, finally has the chance to usher in a sweet death. Bai walked forward and faced the demon in the depths of the abyss. But Father Lan stopped and stood outside the fifth abyss with Ye Bai. Just watch from a distance. If you get too close, people will die. Father Lan warned. Watch well and study hard. Ye Bai nodded honestly. He had never seen the scene before. But, Ye Bai had a hunch. Although the second brother said that he would kill the fifth demon with 3 swords. But the second brother didn't even say that he was going to kill him. The fifth demon god has been begging for death for many years, but the human race has never killed him. In the last battle, I even took the initiative to skip the fifth one. 3, 4, and 6 were all GG, but the fifth demon was still alive and well. Whatever I eat doesn't taste good, and I have nightmares when I sleep. I don't want to stay here for a second longer in this damn day. The fifth demon god had long wanted to reopen Stud, and finally gave him the chance. Deep in the abyss, the huge monster let out a series of laughs, accompanied by extremely arrogant shouts. Wilhen, do you dare to kill me with 3 swords? Faced with the provocation of the fifth demon god, the swordsman in white remained unmoved. Wilhen spoke, and the entire fifth abyss fell silent. He is the only Lord of heaven and earth. There is an ancient book in Blue Star called The Biography of the Prefects of Past Dynasties. Behind Wilhen, the 18 sword slaves appeared and wrote down every word Wilhen said. The biography records Nan Ke Yimen. The traceless history class has begun. The second brother's Nanki I Man is basically the same as Ye Bai's Nanki I Man before traveling through time. Many idioms and allusions here are similar. The illusion of a dream in Nank comes from the biography of the prefect of Nank written by Li Gongzuo of the Tang dynasty. Listening to Wilhen's words, the fifth demon in the shadow fell silent. He seemed to realize that something bad was going to happen. He wanted to escape. Can you escape? Just when the fifth demon wanted to escape. The traceless sword is here. I just realized a sword called Nank. Snapped. The sound of shattered fantasies. The fifth demon god was struck by Nank and instantly fell into a deep sleep, then woke up quickly. No. The fifth demon god's screams echoed over the abyss. Extremely miserable, even worse than Shui Meng. Just now, he had thousands of dreams. Every dream is wonderful, every dream is warm, and in every dream he touches the supreme throne and becomes the most powerful demon god. If there wasn't that man in the dream. In thousands of dreams, there is the same man. That was a nightmare that he could never escape from forever. The man smiled and asked him, "Tell me, do you have nightmares?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 243. A dream in Nank seems like a world away. The fifth demon god's wail was so moving that it lingered around for 3 days. Even Yebai, who was standing on the spot and watching, felt the hairs on his hair stand on end, and a chill surged into his heart. It's too awful. No one even looked at it. Yebai closed his eyes silently, but he was afraid of missing any details, so he quickly opened them again. The breeze blew through the white clothes, and Wilhen said lightly, "There are 2 more swords." The fifth demon god ended his wailing, and his huge will became cold and ruthless, and he growled sinisterly. "Wilhen, you can't use the same sword move twice on me." Yebai raised his eyebrows. Does the second brother still have such restrictions? It seems that it should be the sequelae of fighting the most powerful demon. The reverse version belongs to yes. I would have almost forgotten if you didn't tell me. Facing the fifth demon god's clamor, Wilhen took it indifferently and spoke again. It is recorded in the pillow story that Lu Sheng met a Taoist priest by chance. The Wilhen history lesson has started again. Yebai's face turned strange. No way, no way. Isn't it possible that the second brother has mastered the sword again? Just listen, the traceless voice is traceless in the wind. This is the origin of Huangliang's dream. After listening to Huangliang Yiman's story, the fifth demon fell into silence and stared at Wilhen warily. Don't be nervous, it's just a story. I haven't learned the sword yet. The fifth demon god's hanging heart has not yet completely let go. This kind of sword move is not just cabbage on the roadside, can you just realize it? Even if you have 2 meals, you should take a breather in between. Wilhen tilted his head slightly, tapped his temples with his fingers, and straightened his head again. Now I understand, this sword is called Huangliang. Draw your sword. Slay the devil with the sword. History is the repetition of what has happened. First there was Nank, then Huangliang. With these 2 swords, the fifth demon god killed was worse than dead. But he still survived. No matter how long the dream is, there is still a moment of waking up. Whether it is Nank or Huangliang, they are just making the fifth demon god suffer more torture. Such a trivial matter as the collapse of the devil's heart is not worth mentioning. After receiving 2 swords one after another, the fifth demon god's momentum increased instead of falling, and he sneered. A traceless sword, nothing more than that. Whether it is Huangliang or Nank, the pain is really painful, but in the endless reincarnation and sinking, I have found a glimmer of clarity. The fifth devil said categorically. Dreams are dreams, reality is reality. No matter how many nightmares I have, he can't hurt me at all. Listening to the fifth devil's words, Yebai nodded slowly. As expected of a devil, he has such a tough mouth. Isn't this guy the mouth of the most powerful demon? It feels harder than my second brother's sword. If the fifth demon god hadn't been rolling on the ground in pain and wailing just now, Yebai might have really believed it. There is a saying, torture is indeed torture. But after 2 dreams, the fifth demon god did gain something, found another way, and found a way to solve the root cause of the disease. Just like a long illness makes a good doctor. He had millions of nightmares, and every time he woke up, the remaining power of the nightmare would become weaker. Drops of water can penetrate stones. As long as you work hard, the iron rod can be ground into a needle. The fifth demon god silently calculated in his heart. Another 30 or 50 swords Huang Liang, there will be nothing to be afraid of. For the fifth demon god, it is best to get rid of the root cause of the disease cleanly. But the human race also understands it very well. The fifth demon has been left unkilled, no matter how he kills him. If death is not possible, then settle for the next best thing. You can use a similar method today to have more nightmares and eliminate the remaining effects of nightmares. So, the fifth demon god is even looking forward to Wuhan's third sword. Old M belongs to yes. The white clothes were floating in the air, without any trace or words. Father Lan beside Ye Bai suddenly spoke and emphasized again. Watch well and study hard. I have a hunch that the next sword strike will be the pinnacle sword strike of Wuhan. Lan Bangxian's comments reached Wuhan's ears, and he smiled slightly. After I become the strongest, which sword is not the pinnacle? Lan Bangxian nodded slightly, it makes sense. Listening to the conversation between the two, Ye Bai fell into deep thought. Is this how you usually compliment each other? Is there a possibility that Xuemeng cannot use the sword not because he is not good at using the sword, but because his mouth is too stupid? Can't join the peak kendo praising group? If I teach Xuemeng a few rainbow farts, will he have a chance to join the group? How much does it cost to sell a word to Xuemeng? Ye Bai hurriedly slapped himself in the face. The second brother is about to use the third sword here. If you don't watch carefully, what are you thinking about Xuemeng? How can you be distracted? When can you not make money? Xuemeng is right there, and he doesn't know how to run around. First there is Huang Liang, and then there is Nanke. Both swords are tailor-made for the fifth demon god. If it is actually used on the battlefield, the effect is quite powerful. Forced to fall asleep, a moment's distraction is enough to die 1,000 times. Ye Bai wrote down in his notebook, he's very handsome. I need to find a chance to learn from him. The third sword. With the familiar opening remarks, Wuhan began to teach the fifth demon god historical knowledge. Li Yu, the empress of the southern Tang dynasty, once wrote the lyrics Lang Tao Shaling. In his dream, he didn't realize that he was a guest, and he was full of pleasure for a while. The sword I want to learn about next is called I Don't Know I Am a Guest in My Dream. Wuhan introduced it thoughtfully. After this sword was struck, there was no pain. Your consciousness will alternate between dreams and reality, and you will not be able to distinguish between dreams and reality. Everything that happens in a dream may be completely consistent with reality, or it may be completely opposite. You may wake up at any time, or you may never wake up. The duration of the sword's effect may be an instant, or it may be forever. Listening to the second brother's introduction, Ye Bai wanted to ask, can this be understood? Enlightenment, enlightenment hard. The fifth demon god was concentrating on guarding against this sword. He can feel the extreme pressure, he is coming, he is really coming. He can resist this sword. Must be able to. Although he is already crazy now, he will become even more crazy, doubly crazy, and tormented. The one who killed was the fifth demon. What happened to Guan Ye Bai? But if I had known today, I should not have regretted it before. No, what should be asked more is whether Wuhan really realized the third sword. Ye Bai doesn't know, and neither does the fifth demon god. You guess. The corners of Wuhan's lips raised slightly and he chuckled. Could it be that from today on? Going crazy. Wuhan's sword is very fast, and no one can see Wuhan's sword clearly. Will his nightmare turn into two men? Come on, you won't know you are a guest in your dream. Did Wuhan execute this third sword? Why should we listen to the words of the great demon god and cooperate with the actions of the second demon god? He could never tell what was true and what was false. For a swordsman, the skill of this sword is beyond the limit of imagination. Ye Bai. Have you really realized the sword I don't know I am a guest in my dream? The fifth demon god doesn't dare to gamble. If this sword is fake. As a result, I suddenly woke up and found that everything was just fetching water from a bamboo basket. It was a big dream. Yabai doesn't need to worry about this problem at all. Above the void, Lan Bangxian, who had cooperated skillfully for many years, asked just right. The fifth demon god regretted it until it was too late. If this sword is true and it cuts towards the fifth demon god without a trace, the fifth demon god cannot tell whether it is a dream or reality. As long as this sword exists, the fifth demon god will never have peace. One person and one demon, three confused faces. He may have killed it, or he may not have killed it. He was tortured by nightmares forever and could not forget the figure of that man. When is it a dream and when is it reality? After a few seconds, Wilhelm didn't make any move, but turned around and left. It's worth asking. What if he worked so hard and finally returned to the Supreme Being, filled with joy? Fifth Demon God. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 244. Two words echoed over the fifth abyss. You guess. Bai Yi left, and Sword Slave left, as if he had never been here. The fifth demon god sat on the throne with a gloomy expression. Real, false, false, real. He couldn't tell. At this moment, he truly understood what it meant to be unconscious of being a guest in a dream. Unfortunately, it's too late. Lan Bangxian walked with Yabai, following behind his second brother. Yabai couldn't help but sigh, how handsome. Handsome. Lan Bangxian smiled at the corner of his mouth. There are more handsome ones. Yabai's eyes lit up, let me see. Good. Lan Bangxian nodded and said seriously. Did you know that Wan Tianqing has 4 ways to draw his sword? Yabai. If you want to talk about this, then I'm going to be sleepy. Slipping away. There are actually 4 moves to win over the sky. Frenzied. Are you planning to have some fun? Learning how to save the world once was already a huge burden on Yabai's heart. Do you know how much of a psychological shadow one move will leave on a level 200 strongest seed? A traceless voice came from the front. On the day when the Heavenly King's sword appears in the first abyss, I will teach you again. Yabai felt his scalp numb for a moment and could only agree. Good. After this trip to the abyss, Yabai deeply realized his own weakness. There is no way, whether it is Xuemeng, Zhuye, Xiaoao, or Wuhan, they are all strong men who have been famous for many years. Regardless of strength or talent, these people are the best. There are also 2 powerful ones among them. Compared with these people, Yabai is only temporarily dim. High EQ, Yabai is the weakest. Low emotional intelligence, Yabai has the greatest room for improvement. It's time to go back. I don't know if it was Yabai's illusion or his eyesight. The already blurry traceless figure in front seemed to become lighter. Lan Bangxian stood in front of Yabai, blocking Yabai's sight and making a gesture of invitation. This way please. During this time together, Yabai probably also figured out some of the relationships between the characters. The relationship between Lan Bangxian and Wuhan should be like the relationship between Zhuyi and Nightmare. We are close friends with each other and treat each other with sincerity and sincerity. After the battle with the most powerful demon god, the most powerful humans will have some problems. The ones who really help them manage their forces and deal with various urgent matters are the people who follow them. Master Zhu is in charge of Shadow, and Lan Bangxian is in charge of Sword Slave. The Pavilion of All Things is taken care of by the Goblin Brother. Zhao Qian, the master of the Pavilion of All Things, is a 9th-level god of war. Apart from his daily dealings with Shura in the secret trading realm, he has little reputation. Zhao Qian is also an interesting person. It is said that he is only interested in money. From these 3 people, we can actually see the profound background of the most powerful people. Among the three, Zhu deserves to be the first in terms of strength, Lan Bangxian is second, and Zhao Qian is at the bottom. The ranking of the three parties should also be like this. Ye Bai, who was politely seen off by Lan Bangxian, did not forget to turn around and shout in the direction of Wuhan. Second brother, see you later. My desk mate and I are both your fans. Second brother? Hearing the name that came out of Ye Bai's mouth, Wuhan was stunned for a moment, then quickly reacted and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Interesting boy. It's not as boring as that piece of wood Taoist priest. Lan Bangxian took Shura away, and Wuhan walked alone in the void, with figures of sword slaves emerging around him. Whatever he did, there would be a sword slave holding a green bamboo tube who would write down every word and deed. This habit of Wuhan also affected Lan Bangxian. On some occasions, Lan Bangxian will also ask the sword slave to record one or two. For example, just now, Lan Bangxian defeated Shura. Wuhan suddenly stopped, and all the sword slaves also stopped. Remember, I learned a little about swordsmanship and passed it on to my adopted son to count the swordsmanship. After saying that, the swordsman in white disappeared from the place, and the sword slave also left with him. On the remains of the stitched abyss. 106. 106. Xuemeng waved Fang Tian's painted halberd, his face full of excitement. The sledgehammer is 80. Xuemeng feels that Fang Tian's painting of the halberd is double the happiness, at least 160. Every time he swings a blow, part of the abyss plane will disintegrate in the void, and the original power will dissipate. The suture abyss, which was about to evolve into a large abyss plane, had shrunk in half in a short time. According to Xuemeng's progress, it would be completely purified in less than half a day. Brush. Countless white sword energy came out vertically and horizontally, grinding everything into powder, and the remaining abyssal plane was instantly purified. In the middle of the sword energy storm, a figure in white emerged. Second father. Xuemeng subconsciously hid Fang Tian's painted halberd behind his back, fearing that his second father would see him. Wuhan said casually, "The weapon is good, what's its name? Who gave it to me?" Xuemeng honestly confessed, it was a gift from Shura, Fang Tian's painted halberd. He quickly added, "I bought it with money, not as a gift." Shura only gave Xuemeng three things. Bill on horseback. Shura gave him 1/3 of the fourth demonic turtle, causing Xuemeng to declare bankruptcy. I don't know how much Xuemeng will have to pay for a Fang Tian painted halberd. Fortunately, Xuemeng was smart and made a lot of money in the suture abyss plane this time. Look carefully, this sword Nank, this sword Huangliang. With that said, Wuhan slashed out two swords. Xuemeng's eyes instantly became serious, staring at the two sword lights until they completely disappeared into the void. Have you learned it? Xuemeng nodded, I learned it. Xuemeng's talent in swordsmanship was second to none in the world. He is the only fierce man who can learn more than 30,000 traceless swords. Of course, there are not many people in the entire human race who are willing to teach swordsmanship to Wuhan. Wuhan slashed out 4 swords one after another. With this sword, I didn't realize I was a guest in my dream. This sword is a moment of pleasure. This sword is like a flower falling on flowing water and disappearing in spring. This sword is in heaven and earth. Xuemeng scratched his head, seeming to be recalling something, and fell into deep thought. Along with thinking, his hands moved involuntarily. In the dream, I didn't know that I was a guest, and I was greedy for pleasure for a while. The flowing water and falling flowers are gone in spring, and the world is in heaven and earth. These 4 sentences are all poems written by Li Yu, the later master of the southern Tang dynasty. He danced Fang Tian's painted halberd tens of thousands of times, slashing out streak after streak of blood energy. It wasn't until Xuemeng was covered in sweat and steaming that he stopped. Learned. Good. After saying that, Wilhelm disappeared from the place, and his figure seemed to fade a bit. Xuemeng was not surprised. He carried Fang Tian's painted halberd and the bloody sledgehammer, and rushed back towards Blue Star. He looked happy and kept mumbling. "This time I'll make a fortune. Go home, go home." The wind was so fast that Ye Bai felt that the scenery around him kept moving backwards. "Lao Ju is already waiting for you on the other side of the portal," Lan Bangxian said. "I will ask Xuemeng to deliver the sword box that I promised you." "Thanks." Ye Bai is very polite. The two of them continued on their way. The earlier they returned to Blue Star, the safer Ye Bai felt. "Master Ju, I'm back. Outside the Eternal Tower, there is the Eternal Forest." When Ying Ju left, he was a little surprised. Strange, why is Madman Huo silent? Logically speaking, if he appeared nearby, Madman Huo should provoke him. Being so quiet doesn't suit Madman Huo's character. "Don't worry about all that for now, go pick up that boy Shura." With nightmares staring at him, Madman Huo can't make any waves? Deep in the Eternal Forest, terrifying pressure came, and no one dared to approach. Even a strong man at the God of War level will feel the trembling from the depths of his soul when faced with this pressure. The coffin boards were thrown aside casually, and the black coffin lay upside down on the ground. There was no one in the black coffin. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 245. When Ye Bai saw Master Ju, he always felt that Master Ju was worried. Master Ju said bluntly, "Don't you have something to ask Xiaoao? Come on, I'll take you there." Ye Bai. Did Master Ju collude with third brother and prepare to lie to himself? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Master Ju would probably try to lie, but third brother Xiaoao is an honest man. There must be something hidden behind Master Ju's actions. "Can you go later?" Ye Bai said seriously, "I haven't taken a shower for several hours. Isn't it impolite to meet the strongest human being like this?" A flash of sword flashed across, almost hitting Ye Bai. "Has it been washed?" "Ye Bai, I can't wait to see Xiaoao." "Master Ju, take me there quickly." Ying Ju snorted coldly and stopped talking. Seeing Xiaoao means risking one's life. If you face Master Ju's sword directly, you don't have to go to such trouble. You can just choose a grave with better feng shui and be a good person in the next life. Whichever is the lesser of two evils. However, it was just as Ye Bai had guessed before. Something was probably wrong. After returning to Blue Star, a white cloud had been waiting for Ye Bai. The white clouds held Ye Bai up, soaring up to the 99th floor of the Eternal Tower. Inside, there are tower otakus and the most powerful ones, Xiaoao. Outside, there is the Wool Nemesis, the most powerful seed Shura. But a black shadow was left in place and did not leave with Baiyun. From the portal, Lan Bangxian followed and walked out, his expression slightly condensed. "Lao Ju, you said something happened to Madman Huo before. What do you mean?" Madman Huo in the black coffin is a genuine Tongtian war god, even the top one among the Tongtian war gods. The main reason is that there are not many war gods in the human race, and any one of them can be considered top-notch. The black coffin was carried to the Eternal Forest, and Madman Huo guarded the Eternal Forest, which is the meaning of nightmare. Something happened. There is nightmare in the Eternal Forest, and there is freedom in the Eternal Tower. Two powerful men were staring at him, a small god of war. What could happen? Could it be that Madman Huo broke through to level 1000, left Blue Star, and disappeared? The Shadow's voice was hoarse, "Follow me." Without any nonsense, the two of them headed straight into the depths of the Eternal Forest. In front of the memorial monument, the black coffin was straightened and placed, and the coffin boards were put aside. On the coffin board, two corpses were lying. A corpse was covered in blood and flesh, Its appearance could not be clearly seen, and it was not even humanoid. An extremely old man looked familiar, like Madman Huo, whom he hadn't seen for many years. He had a terrifying stab wound on his chest. Lan Bangxian was slightly surprised, pointed at the old corpse, and asked. "This is?" Ying Ju said coldly. Crazy Huo, who was more than 100 years old. After discovering his abnormality, I took the time to hack him to death. Lan Bangxian pointed at another corpse. "What about this?" 17-year-old Madman Huo. Ying Ju's tone was unkind. He ran to the abyss battlefield and started killing, but was brought back by Ying Yi. Lan Bangxian's expression became a little more solemn, and he spoke again. "What happened?" "This starts with Madman Huo's talent." Ying Ju was silent for a moment, trying to organize his words. "You don't know, Madman Huo's talent is called 9 Deaths Without Regrets, Second Awakening, SS level. Every time he experiences life and death and struggles on the line of death, his strength will increase a lot. This is the first time Lan Bangxian has heard of this matter. Everyone's talents are, in a sense, top secret. The further back you go, the more so. Even comrades who fought bloody battles together would not take the initiative to inquire about each other's talents unless necessary. Now that I think about it, Madman Huo always charged forward in every battle and would never give up until he was tortured to death. After he recovered from his serious injury, he immediately became more energetic and his strength reached a higher level." "I see." Ying Ju continued. "After the battle between Nightmare and the most powerful demon god, Madman Huo kept mumbling, secretly planning something. After Wuhan fought against the most powerful demon, Madman Huo began to build a black coffin for himself. The black coffin is, strictly speaking, the work of the most powerful person. However, few people know that the black coffin was built at the initiative of Madman Huo. The coffin belongs to the original." Lan Bangxian nodded slightly. "If Madman Huo's talent is 9 Deaths Without Regrets. With Madman Huo's state in the past few years, he was literally wandering between life and death. The longer you stay on the couch, the stronger the queen will be. Once Crazy Huo returns to normal, his strength will undoubtedly skyrocket. With Madman Huo's character, in order to become stronger, he would do such a crazy thing." Lan Bangxian probably guessed something and asked. "So, Madman Huo went crazy on the 95th floor?" "Right." Ying Ju nodded. "I suspect that my apprentice is also involved in this matter." Ying Ju looked up at the Eternal Tower. Crazy Huo knew that the 95th floor was extremely dangerous and forced his way through. He failed to break through and became unconscious. Without Xiaoao taking action, he died on the 95th floor. After that, he ran to the abyss battlefield and made a big fuss. To make matters worse, he was seriously injured and on the verge of death. In the end, they were jointly sealed in the black coffin." Pointing to the black coffin, Ying Ju said seriously. "After the black coffin was opened, Madman Huo was divided into 9 parts. Every Crazy Huo is of different ages, and their strength matches their age. It's like, Madman Huo from different stages of life appeared in the world at the same time." 9 madmen? Listening to Yingju's introduction, Lan Bangxian also felt a little headache. One Madman Huo is troublesome enough, but now there are 9. What is this madman planning? Yingju pointed to the corpse on the ground and said. Crazy Huo who escaped must fight against his peer and bring him back to the black coffin after defeating him. It doesn't matter if he is hacked to death, he will not really die. Get together 9 Crazy Huos, damn it, I don't know what will happen. Lan Bangxian glanced at the corpse and the black coffin on the ground, and suddenly spoke. Does it mean nightmare? Behind the arrangement of the black coffin, there is the figure of the most powerful person. Now that Madman Huo has escaped into 9 parts, without the involvement of nightmare, a guy who has been crazy for many years alone cannot make such a sophisticated arrangement. I'm afraid it's more than that. Black Mist raised his head and looked at the Eternal Tower. His apprentice also played a very important role in it. The relationship between Yingju and Xiaoao is very simple. If he doesn't ask, he won't tell. Obviously, after Shuro was born, most of Master Ju's thoughts were on cultivating the most powerful seeds and obtaining the most powerful mark. I never expected that an old lunatic who had been sleeping around for many years could cause such a big mess. This is going to break the sky. In fact, more than half of the content in Yingju's introduction just now was told by Xiaoao to Yingju. After discovering that Madman Huo escaped from the coffin, through Xiaoao, Yingju quickly figured out the ins and outs and successfully retrieved the two Madman Huo. Xiaoao only knows so much. Lan Bangxian was silent for a moment, then spoke again. You said before that Madman Huo was divided into 9 parts. There are 2 here. Where are the remaining 7? No matter what Madman Huo is planning, finding all 9 Madman Huo first is the top priority. Yingju pointed to the outside of the forest. 4 of them are guarding all directions in the eternal forest, and their strength is above that of the 9th level god of war. These 4 won't run away, just let the shadows deal with them. Good. Lan Bangxian nodded. The real trouble is the 3 missing Madman Huo. While the 2 were talking, the portal outside the eternal forest opened again, and a powerful man with a powerful spirit walked out of it. The 2 of them immediately noticed something strange. Crazy Huo's breath. The figures of Yingju and Lan Bangxian disappeared from the place in an instant and came to the portal. Why you? Yingju frowned, unable to figure out what was going on for a while. Xuemeng carried Fang Tian's painted halberd on his back and a figure on his shoulder, looking curiously at the 2 people who greeted him. Uncle Ju, Uncle Lan, what a coincidence. Xuemeng casually threw the figure on his shoulder to the ground without any intention of claiming credit, and boasted. Uncle Ju, I met a guy pretending to be Uncle Huo on my way back. Uncle Huo, who is that? He raised me as his own son. He gave me all my names. How could I not recognize him? He even pretended to be Uncle Huo in front of me. How could I bear this? 3 punches and he was knocked down. After saying that, Xuemeng gave himself a thumbs up and said with a grin. Am I fierce or not? Yingju, Lan Bangxian. The 2 looked at each other and understood what the other meant. 9 Madman Huo escaped from the coffin, 4 stayed in the eternal forest, and 3 have been recovered. If this is Madman Huo's plan to escape from the coffin that he has been carefully planning for many years, then this guy's IQ dropped seriously while he was half mad and half awake. The coffin escaping plan was mostly over before it even started. The same thought came to both of them, there are 2 left. Find the remaining 2 Madman Huo and kill Ya. No, what they mean is to bring Madman Huo back intact and help them complete the plan to escape from the coffin. Yingju and Lan Bangxian sneered at the corners of their mouths at the same time. They suddenly felt that it was not a bad thing for Madman Huo to sneak into the coffin and pretend to be dead. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 246. Outside the Eternal Forest. Yingju briefly introduced Madman Huo to Xuemeng. It's really Uncle Huo. Xuemeng hurriedly squatted down and looked at the figure he had thrown to the ground. It's cold. Uncle Huo. Xuemeng hugged Uncle Huo's body and howled. I really don't know, I can kill you with just 3 punches. Uncle Huo, you usually scold this and that, but they don't dare to talk back. I always thought you were good at hitting, and I really didn't mean it. Yingju, Lan Bangxian. I don't know why, but I feel like the little fierce guy in front of me is a bit undercut. leaving aside the fact that Xue Meng killed King Huo Tian with 3 punches. Yingzhu brought Madman Huo's third corpse back to the death monument and placed it among the corpses of an old man and a young one. The one who was killed by Xue Meng was probably in his early 60s and had the strength of a 9th-level war god. Among people of the same level, it is normal not to be able to defeat Xue Meng. Xue Meng's 3 punches did not mean to kill Madman Huo, but only seriously injured him. Back near the Eternal Forest, it was Madman Huo who took the initiative to die. Yingzhu's hoarse voice came from the black mist. There are 2 more missing. Lan Bangxian said, "Want Shura to help me find it?" As the top strong man in the human race, although Lan Bangxian does not know Shura's true identity, he knows a little about Shura's talent. It must have something to do with the eyes. Oh, by the way, he also knew that Shura's name had the word Le in it. Using Shura's eyes to search for the missing Madman Huo should yield results soon. Disaster. Yingzhu pointed to the sky. My apprentice helped Crazy Huo cover his whereabouts, 2 of them. Shura may not be able to see the clues. Lan Bangxian frowned and said, in other words, the remaining 2 are the hardest to find. Yingzhu shook his head. Not necessarily, this kind of covering up the whereabouts is just to deceive Shura's eyes. I have a premonition that Madman Huo will appear in front of us in a certain capacity. As he spoke, Yingzhu looked into the distance and said to himself, he's a lunatic and can do anything crazy. Good. Lan Bangxian nodded and prepared to leave. Before he left, he did not forget to say, Crazy Huo in the Eternal Forest, leave one for me, the strongest one. Good. After saying that, a small black box appeared in the black mist. Group, isn't Yu Ying a 9th-level god of war? Group leader, Shadow 9 1, 2, 3. Weak woman, Shadow 1, a wooden man? The weak woman, Shadow 1, has been banned by the group leader, Shadow 9, for 24 hours. Group leader, Shadow 9 go back to the Eternal Forest, have something to do, receive a reply. If you don't reply within 1 minute, your performance for this month will be deducted. Bad woman, Film 2 received. Bad man, Film 2 received. Unnamed, Shadow 3 received. Unnamed, Shadow 3 the eldest sister asked me to tell her that I received it. 2 messages of the unnamed, Shadow 3, were withdrawn by the group owner, Shadow 9. The unnamed, Shadow 3, has been banned by the group leader, Shadow 9, for 24 hours. Group leader, Shadow 9 Shadow 1 and 3 will have their performance deducted this month for not replying to messages. The guy who blew himself up, Shadow 7 ha 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 ha. The guy who blew himself up, Shadow 7, withdrew a message. For a time, there was a happy atmosphere inside and outside the group. 99 floors of the Eternal Tower. Yebai sat on the white clouds with a smile. Well behaved. JPG. Yebai greeted politely. 3, hello. No, I'm a little sleepy. In the Eternal Tower, Yebai's familiar voice came. Xiaoao said calmly, teacher said, you have questions to ask me. Yes, I would like to ask you something about the mark of the strongest. Yebai briefly explained Lao Ian's previous conjecture. Xiaoao shook his head after hearing this. Lao Lan guessed wrong. Oh. Yebai raised his eyebrows and asked. Where is wrong? Lao Lan still has too little information, and it is normal to make mistakes in judgment. Teacher really wants the mark of the strongest. Wilhen did not give the mark of the strongest to the teacher back then. Everything is correct up to this point. Xiaoao said slowly, I gave it. Hiss. Yebai took a breath of cold air. These 3 words were like a bolt from the blue, giving Yebai a thunderbolt. Lan Lao thought that Zhu had failed with Wilhen and Xiaoao and failed to get the most powerful mark. Because according to Lan Lao's inference, once Yingzhu gets the mark of the strongest, he will die or not. But now Master Ju is still alive and kicking, which means that he has not obtained the mark of the strongest. In fact, with the relationship between master and apprentice, does Master Ju really want something? Isn't it just a matter of words? Even the most powerful mark. Although, until now, Ye Bai didn't know what the use of the most powerful mark was. But, it sounds awesome. If Master Ju had really obtained the mark of the strongest, wouldn't Lao Ian's worries be unnecessary? Ye Bai became even more confused and asked again, what then? Xiaoao explained, at that time, the teacher could not control the most powerful mark, so the most powerful mark was finally returned to me. Ye Bai breathed a sigh of relief and smiled happily. Since Master Ju can't control the most powerful mark, then I have nothing to worry about. Xiaoao, teacher can now control the most powerful mark. Ye Bai. That's not right. Master Ju couldn't control it more than 30 years ago. Why is it that more than 30 years have passed and he secretly made up lessons? Ye Bai doesn't understand. Master Ju is a strong man who has been famous for many years. Logically speaking, it is difficult for his strength to take a step forward. Besides, with Juye's strength and realm, even if he wanted to make up lessons, there weren't many people who could help him. Xiaoao, I teach the teacher. Ye Bai. A cram school for the strongest? That's okay. To Ye Bai's expectation, Master Ju once had the opportunity to obtain the mark of the strongest, but he missed it. From then on, the two masters and apprentices worked together to finally help Juye solve his shortcomings in ability. In other words, the next time the most powerful mark is placed in front of Yingju, he will not miss it. Ye Bai still had the last bit of luck in his heart. If Master Ju gets the mark of the strongest, will he die because of it? Xiaoao's answer is simple. Meeting. Well. Ye Bai sighed in his heart and lowered his eyes. Although there was something wrong with Lan Lao's reasoning, the result was completely correct. I have no other questions for now. Ye Bai still has to think about the matter of the most powerful mark. The best solution is to improve your strength as soon as possible, keep the mark of the strongest, and don't let Master Ju die. Xiaoao suddenly asked. The teacher said before that you have learned how to conquer the sky. Ye Bai had an ominous premonition and said bravely, yes. I'm too sleepy to see you off. It's okay, I'm on my own. Before Ye Bai finished speaking, the white cloud suddenly dispersed under his feet, and his figure plummeted down and began to free fall. It is known that each floor of the Eternal Tower is 10 meters high. It starts from the bottom of the 99th floor, i.e. 980 meters high, and performs free fall motion. It ignores air resistance and other non-gravity effects. The value of gravity acceleration g is 9.8. Ask for, the time it takes for Ye Bai to fall to the ground, 3 minutes, the speed of Ye Bai when it falls to the ground, 5 minutes, and give a detailed demonstration process. Hardcore send-off, if you are the strongest seed, jump to the 99th floor. There are so many space restrictions around the Eternal Tower that Ye Bai cannot fly with his strength alone. In other words, only a very small number of strong people can fly around the Eternal Tower. The only thing Ye Bai could do was to adjust his posture in mid-air so that he could fall more gracefully. After all, elegance never goes out of style. Anyway, with the saving grace in hand, Ye Bai could not be thrown to death, and his life was not in danger. It wasn't until this moment that Ye Bai understood the true meaning of Master Ju's words. Why do you want to learn something that is unlucky? Why do you want to learn something that is not good for you? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 247. The most terrifying thing in life is not falling, but the endless decline with no bottom in sight. He had something to say to Xiaoao, but unfortunately the other party couldn't hear him. Wan Tianqing is still cooling down, third brother. Obviously, the third brother has never learned how to win the sky. The learning conditions for this skill are to let the person's health drop to 1 drop, and then forcefully use Tianatian King to learn it. Not long after Ye Bai finished learning, his skills were still cooling down. Someone is going to die. Where are your teammates? Help me. Ye Bai, who was in free fall, saw his bottom. Mistress. Meow. With a roar, the three-headed hell dog was summoned. It knows that it is time again for dogs to cease to be dogs and for humans to cease to be human beings. Come on, it's ready. Ye Bai's hands kept moving. The thunder spirit is gone. In the state of the thunder spirit being depleted, Ye Bai is immune to physical damage. Follow me like a shadow. Ghostly. Azuracy. After several consecutive preparations, Ye Bai turned into a black shadow and sneaked into the shadow of the three-headed hell dog. Boom. He rushed down dozens of meters in the darkness before being bounced back. Unscathed. Pot, pot, pot. Applause came from the black mist watching on the side. Wonderful and wonderful. Obviously, if Ye Bai was thrown to death just now, Ju would help him take a better looking photo of his body. Master Ju, you are finally back. Ye Bai walked out from the shadow of the three-headed hell dog and greeted. Let's go back and rest. I'm exhausted from this trip. Without your constant protection, I can't even sleep well. Do you still need to sleep now? You seniors must know a lot about the lives of 18-year-olds. In front of the knife, Ye Bai switches freely. The black mist disappeared into Ye Bai's shadow, and the two walked together. The sky turned white, and the morning light penetrated the mist and reached the young man's shoulders, illuminating his shadow. Ye Bai turned his back to the east, his shadow walking in front. The young man was chattering and mumbling something. Master Ju, don't forget the 10,000 God of War merits you promised me. There is also the 200,000 God of War meritorious service for the Shadow 10 upgrade. You are already old, so you can just get 200,000 without grit. How much money? By the way, Master Ju, rescuing Mr. Lan is an SSS level mission. Lan Lao's second awakening counts as a sum of money, but what about his third awakening? It's not that I'm fussing over anything, my family is really too poor to open the pot. Hei Wu was silent for a long time, and then suddenly said something. I suspect that if the price is right, you are even willing to sell the Xeon Mark. Yang Ju felt that he had thought too much before. When facing Ye Bai, there is no need to use any other methods, just give him money and that's it. The price was right and there was nothing wrong with it. Doesn't this make me, Mr. Ye, look down upon? That is the mark of the strongest. Ye Bai swallowed back the words more money is required. As a human being, you must have backbone. After dozens of seconds, Ye Bai spoke again. I don't want to sell it, Master Ju. I'm just curious. I have no other intention. Don't get me wrong. How much do you plan to pay? Shadow 9. Is your life money enough? Why are you so anxious? Feeling the chill of the sword's light, Ye Bai cursed in his heart and walked back to the summer camp. Dormitory in Zone C. After learning that Ye Bai had returned to Blue Star, Zhaolin hurriedly knocked on Ye Bai's dormitory door. Bai, you are finally back. When he received the news, Zhaolin was wandering around the Eternal Core City and immediately exited the Eternal Tower. The internship in Abyss lasted for a week, and Ye Bai was among the last batch of people to come back. After Zhaolin finished his duty, he returned to Blue Star early and even climbed the tower in the past 2 days. He is different from Ye Bai. Zhaolin is from the United Legion camp, and his main task is to practice defense changes in a large abyssal plane, participate in daily logistics work, and feel the battlefield atmosphere. The real risk is almost zero. Ye Bai chose the lone wolf camp and went to the small and medium abyss planes to perform tasks alone. It is said that it was executed alone, but in fact, it was also carried out under the covert protection of the strong human race. Otherwise, if these genius seeds are thrown into the abyss, the mortality rate will soar to 50% in less than 2 days. Ye Bai looked at Zhao and nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, I feel stronger. After returning alive from the abyss, Zhao became stronger and finally looked like a warrior. The two chatted while walking. At the beginning, Ye Bai would also talk about some of his own experiences. For example, a certain 9th level war god Icethorn became a well-matched opponent in Ye Bai's mouth. A mere level 80 monster fell into a trap and was eliminated by Ye Bai 3 times, 5 times, 5 times, and 2 times. Ye Bai lowered the level of all the enemies he killed by 900, and the process was slightly more sinister. Although he has never experienced danger, he talks about it vividly, making the listener feel immersed in the scene and feel extremely real. In fact, the method is very simple. Just try to put yourself in the perspective of the three-headed dog from hell. Cerberus, are you polite? According to Ye Bai, he almost lost his life several times, and the environment was full of danger. Coupled with Ye Bai's slightly pale complexion now, it was very convincing. Zhao Lin was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and couldn't help but sweat for Ye Bai. Fortunately, there was no danger, and Ye Bai came back alive. After Ye Bai's wonderful adventure was finished, it became Zhao Lin's unilateral output. In the past few days, Zhao Linlian also knew a lot about other people's situations. Everyone returned before Ye Bai, and they waited for Ye Bai without having a dinner together. Dabai, Wang Zheng actually killed a warrior-level monster. Although he was seriously injured and critically injured, he missed it, but he is still so strong. Zhao Lin was still frightened and afraid. When I was in the abyss, I saw a demon warrior from a distance. It was so terrifying. Ye Bai nodded, agreeing with Zhao Lin's statement. Indeed, you have to be careful when facing warrior-level monsters. Never take action if you are not sure of victory. Zhao Lin continued to throw out explosive news. Also, Lu Sueki seems to have killed the demon warrior as well. Several of our group have killed demon warriors, and it is rumored that the people above have focused their attention on them. If you perform well in the future, you may be transferred to an SS-level talent training camp and be classmates with Shura. Ye Bai didn't know what to say for a moment, so he could only nod his head frequently, yes, yes. He also wants to be a classmate with Shura, but he may not have the chance in this life. By the way, Senior Feet and the others have returned from the abyss. On the way back, they encountered another ambush. Senior Fit was seriously injured, and even the healing god of war was alarmed. Listening to Zhao Lin's words, Ye Bai raised his eyebrows. Lao Su, can you do it? With Lao Su watching, it was impossible for Feet to be seriously injured. Lao Su was not only the disgrace of SS-level talents, but also took away the title of 9th level war god's disgrace. 2 blooms. Ye Bai calculated in his heart that it was probably hopeless for Lao Su to survive on his own. Ye Bai still needs to come and spur Lao Su like he spurs Xue Meng. I believe that after Lao Su has his own guidance, his strength will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Getting rid of the shameful title of 9th level god of war is just around the corner. While Ye Bai and Zhao Lin were chatting, a quick voice sounded. Before anyone arrives, the sound comes first. Brother Bai, something big happened. Feng Dong rushed over in a hurry and said excitedly. Shura is too aggressive. Ye Bai said in his heart, oh. How are you going to praise me? Come on, I'm ready. Feng Dong continued, I just came back from the abyss and completed the SSS level mission. It only took Shura 3 hours to complete his third job transfer and reach level 200. After listening to Feng Dong's praise, Ye Bai analyzed calmly. It's amazing. I think only Shura is the strongest seed in history. Zhao Lin was a little confused. Isn't this a server-wide announcement? Obviously, the big thing Fen Dong mentioned was definitely not this. Fen Dong calmed down and said seriously. I just received news that people from the SS level talent training camp will come to Area C to communicate today. The big thing I'm talking about is, you may have to meet Shura himself. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 248. Fen Dong brought a big explosive news, and Ye Bai also looked very interested. There is no way, Shura is too legendary. It's hard not to be interested in him. After the initial excitement, Zhao Lin quickly asked. Why Area C? Logically speaking, there are so many areas in summer camp. For the special training camp for SS level talents, there is no need to go straight to Area C. There must be a secret behind this. You have to ask our brother Bai. Fen Dong smiled and shook his head. You may not know that Ye Bai's name has spread among many seniors and sisters. Oh. Zhao Lin was very interested, so he just brought melon seeds and peanuts and brought a small bench. Fen Dong didn't sell out. Brother Bai first defeated Wang Zhen with his C-level talent, and he made a name for himself. After that, he led Area C to agree to Area A, snatched half of the other party's resources, and eliminated all the bottom 10%. At the end of the sentence, Fen Dong smiled bitterly and shrugged. Actually, none of this matters. The most important thing is that Brother Bai defeated me in the previous fighting test. Ye Bai defeated Fen Dong. These 6 words sound frivolous and seem to have little gold content. In fact, among the opponents that Ye Bai had fought against, there really wasn't much gold in them. But among Fen Dong's generation, Fen Dong, who is SS level talented, is the top existence. Before he was 21 years old, he reached the 30th floor of the Eternal Tower. What a terrifying speed! On the Killing Monument, he even left his name in the top 50. You know, the team that rescued Lao Lan carefully selected among countless people, and finally selected 8 people. Which of these 8 people is not the proud son of heaven, the rising star of the future? Fen Dong's various performances, in the eyes of many strong men, are certain to be the god of war. It is even possible to become a 9th level war god, side by side with Su Qingfeng. My uncle is the god of war. My nephew is also the god of war, and there are 2 gods of war in the family. How nice it sounds if word spreads. And Ye Bai, with his mere C-level talent, was able to defeat Fen Dong in the fighting test, which was a miracle. Such performance made many people notice Ye Bai. For this reason, many instructors asked Fen Dong about the battle process. The failed products made from Fenki's ashes are sold in Wanwu Pavilion, and the price is not high. Mainly because the usage level is too low and the effective time is too short. With this thing, Ye Bai took advantage of Fen Dong's psychology in class under various coincidences and finally killed him. Although in terms of hard power, Ye Bai is definitely not as good as Fen Dong. But this brain was unanimously recognized by everyone. Today's Ye Bai also has a nickname, which is not the Violent Man originally, but the Cunning People in Area C. Hiss. Ye Bai shook his head when he heard his nickname. It doesn't match my own temperament at all. He, Ye Bai, was an upright man, and had absolutely nothing to do with cunning. The 3 of them went to have breakfast first, and then met others at the training hall. Waiting for the arrival of the geniuses who have received SS-level talent training. Most of the people had expressions of excitement and anticipation on their faces. Only Ye Bai yawned occasionally and was not very interested in the coming Shura. However, Ye Bai wanted to see where this fake Shura came from. Don't think too much, it must be Master Ju's handiwork. Fake is a good thing. They're coming. The people waiting in the training hall were refreshed and saw a group of people walking towards them. Fen Dong whispered. The most beautiful girl is the rumored Shura. Everyone? Ye Bai, Shocked me for 10,000 years. When did Shura become a girl? I really don't know this. Following Feng Dong's guidance, Ye Bai quickly found the rumored Shura girl. One thing to say is that she is really beautiful, has the style of a royal lady, and has an outstanding temperament. His appearance is about 5 points as good as Ye Bai's. Ye Bai looked at the other party, and a prompt popped up in front of him. Shadow 2, bad woman, leave 1. Something seemed not right. Ye Bai lowered his head and looked down, seeing the shadow of fake Shura. Shadow 2, bad man, leave 989. I see. Juyi and the others did help Shura get a fake body to attract firepower. But the bait placed in the trap was none other than Shadow 2. This is not bait, this is a shark that eats people. Judging from Ye Bai's experience in dealing with people. Within the shadows, except for Shadow 9 and Shadow 7, the rankings are slightly watery. In other cases, the smaller the number, the stronger the strength. Those who rank among the top 3 in the shadows are all monsters. Anyone who wants to sneak attack Yang Er will eventually fall into despair. Xuemeng commented privately. Hearing Master Ju's words, the bad woman replied in her heart, what did Master Ju say? They are coming. Oh, Master Ju also said that your performance this month will be deducted, and my performance will be doubled this month. I will help you cancel all orders from Wanwu Pavilion. The charming royal sister, the legendary Shura, walked towards Ye Bai and others. Ye Bai continued to stare at Yang Er, the legendary combination of bad woman and bad man. Otherwise, it would be difficult to find Master Ju. With their strength, unless Master Ju takes the initiative and reveals his presence. While everyone was carefully looking at Shura, the other party obviously noticed their gazes. Ye Bai now understood why he called her a bad woman. A sissy voice sounded in the bad woman's ears, and she alone could hear it. Shadow 10 once told Ye Bai that there were 4 of the top 3 shadows. When she spoke, her voice was still strong and male. Except for him, all the people in shadow combined are not as strong as Ju yet. They finally understood. The bad man repeated, Ju asked you to get away, don't disgust him. But what a pretty girl, but she has a mouth. This voice is more manly than a man. Among them, the shadow is divided into 2. Even if Shura is a man, there are still rumors everywhere that this unknown royal sister may be Shura. So bad. Okay, I'll get out of here. As soon as she spoke, the strong male voice made everyone's hearts sink. Pretty cool. Yang Ju follows Shura. This is a secret that all the powerful people in the shadow know. In this way, everything makes sense. Shura is among them. Wait, Master Ju has spoken. The voice is their bad taste, the real gender is consistent with the appearance. Ignoring what the other person said next, the bad woman showed a sweet smile. In terms of attainments in the shadow department, Master Ju surpassed everyone. Obviously, the so-called certain reasons, Master Ju. If it weren't for certain reasons, the existence of the top 3 shadows would all have the hope of impacting the god of war. Your eyes have alarmed her and him. A powerful man of mysterious origin, the total level of the 2 is 990, which can be assigned at will, the minimum is level 1. Boy, what are you looking at? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 249. Fake Shuras are like a mudslide. Come and go. It left an indelible impression on everyone. Someone in the crowd whispered. Oh, it would be nice to be mute. Everyone nodded in approval. Ye Bai stood in the crowd, listening to others discussing the mudslide in low voices. Through the eye of insight, Ye Bai can see more information. The total level of 2 people is 990, and the maximum level of a single person is 989. Upgrade requirements: kill 10 level 990 monsters. Seeing this line of text, Yebai directly skipped it. Level 990 is already the god of war. Levels 990-999 all belong to the category of the god of war. The problem is, trying to kill 10 heaven-reaching war gods is as difficult as climbing to the sky. Yebai even doubted whether the demons could gather together 10 level 990 monsters. Shadow II's status is somewhat special, and the levels between the two can be assigned at will. Just like when Yebai met just now, the bad woman was only level 1 and the bad man was level 989. If they want, they can immediately become level 989 bad women and level 1 bad men. It's very flexible, equivalent to two people's combat power that can be switched at any time. Yebai nodded slightly. The two of them were equal to two 9th level war gods. In a joint battle, they could even exert an effect of 1 add 1 greater than 2. And according to the introduction of the Eye of Insight, as long as one of the bad woman and the bad man survives, the other will not die. Extremely difficult to deal with. No wonder they are placed in the position of fake Shura. Even if the devil takes action, they still have a chance to survive. While Yebai was thinking, the game was getting heated. Students from the SS level talent training camp come to Area C mainly for exchange and learning. Therefore, fighting duel is an essential part. Wang Zheng and Lu Sueki were both named and challenged, as were other students who performed well in the abyss. But there was no movement at Yebai's place. Zhao Lin asked in surprise, "Didn't you say you came here for Dabai? Why is no one challenging Dabai?" Yebai rolled his eyes at him. "Why, are you happy to see me get beaten?" "Ah, this." Zhao Lin was speechless for a moment. It would be unfair for a genius seed with SS level talent to compete with Yebai's C level talent. They may have reached more than 100 levels, and Yebai just changed jobs for the second time. Seems a bit too bullying? Feng Dong explained. No one challenges Brother Bai because Shura hasn't challenged Brother Bai yet. How to put it, it's like two groups of people have agreed to duel each other. The duel between the leader and the leader, no one else can interfere. Shura. Feng Dong was about to continue, but was interrupted by Feet. That's not Shura. Oh. Everyone looked at Fight curiously, not understanding why he said that. Fight shook his head and didn't explain much. Intuition. Fit added, in the special training camp, she preferred to be called Yet. Obviously, Fight had done a lot of homework on this suspected Shura existence. Okay, then it's the second master. Feng Dong continued. Second master is the strongest person in the special training camp, and they also have second master as their core. Brother Bai in Area C is the most famous. He was also the leader of the team before, so Brother Bai is the target of the second master and no one else can touch him. Zhao Lin suddenly realized, that's it, Dabai wants the second master to beat him. Yebai. Can't I not get beaten? On the first day when the students from the SS talent training camp came here, they were not as domineering as expected. Instead, they were very gentle and easy to get along with. Obviously, those who are not gentle have been taught a lesson by the second master before. What Yet is best at is straightening the crooked ones and bending the straight ones. A handsome boy. Non-existent. In the SS level talent training camp, whoever dares to stand out will be beaten so hard by the second master that he escapes directly into Buddhism. Thanks to the unremitting efforts of Yi, all SS level talented students are polite and civilized. However, when it comes to the combat test, their fierce strength is fully demonstrated. All fights end with SS level talent winning. 100% winning rate. And, winning is easy. S-level talent Wang Zheng ranks among the top 3 in Area C to be precise, he only loses to Yebai. Even he has no power to fight back against his opponents who are also warriors. In less than 10 moves, he was directly punched and defeated. So strong. A layman looks at the excitement, an expert looks at the doorway, and Yabai looks at the second master. The second master drank too much water and walked to the bathroom. Men's and women's restrooms. Without any hesitation, the second master walked directly into the men's room. A strong male voice came from the toilet. What's there to be shy about? We're just gesticulating. Soon, a boy with a red face ran out of the toilet. Oh, poor child. SHH. The bad woman whistled. It was another boring day. Why is it so hard to have some fun these days? Wow. Turning on the faucet, the bad woman started washing her hands. They must wash their hands after going to the toilet. This is what Master Ju taught them. Being a human being requires hygiene. Oh, and you can't eat in the bathroom. At that time, bad women and bad men thought this rule was strange. Bathrooms and washrooms, according to the dictionary, should be very hygienic places. Since you have to eat in a hygienic place, why can't you eat in the bathroom? Facing soul torture, Master Ju raised his knife. There's no point in talking, just do it. In fact, the first 3 origins of shadow are all mysterious. But one thing is for sure, they are not human. Only a very few beings know the secret. The bad woman washed her hands and was about to go out, but she ran into an invisible barrier. She had a straight face and cursed in a low voice, "Idiot, you don't even know you've been tricked." Without knowing it, Yang Er was trapped. Still in the human race's own territory. A bad man's voice came from the shadow. "Don't look back, you'll die." A punch came from behind, and the bad woman turned slightly to avoid it easily. The fist exploded on the invisible barrier, and the whole space shook slightly, but soon stabilized. If the bad woman read it correctly, the power of the fist can easily kill the 9th level war god. The opponent deliberately failed to aim, so he missed the target. Without anyone noticing, he could use the Eternal Sea to trap himself and kill the 9th level god of war instantly. Damn it, where did the monster come from? A childish, sunny boy's voice came from behind her. "I heard that you are Shura." The bad woman forced a stiff smile. Master Ju has taught them that dying with a smile will look better. If I say that I am not Shura, can I avoid death? You misunderstood, I'm not here to kill you. The sunny boy is very serious. I just want to beat you to death, or be beaten to death by you. This man must be a lunatic. No, I can't beat you to death. The big sunshine boy spoke incomprehensible words that could not be heard clearly. Finally, he made his decision. Then I'll beat you half to death. Bad women, bad men. Hurry up and call Master Ju for help. The bad woman shouted crazily in her heart. My bank card password is 539,092. Bad man, the summons won't go out. It's over, despair hangs over the bad woman's head. Being targeted by a madman whose strength surpassed that of a 9th level war god, Master Ju was so close but didn't realize it. Life or death is all under the control of the other party. At this critical moment of life and death, the bad man asks seriously. Bad women all play with black stockings. Good. Level 200 bad woman vs level 200 King Huo. Let me tell you beforehand, although I am only level 200, I can summon a level 790 summoned beast. Is this reasonable? I can't take action, you know, if he discovers our true identity. I heard that you just transferred to level 200 for the 3rd time. The bad woman froze on the ceiling, wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, and said with a grin. This horse riding is level 200. The bad woman's face darkened, knowing that now was not the time to joke, she said in a deep voice. The two of them were busy fighting among themselves, and it was obvious that one ad won. The bad woman fell silent instantly. The voice of a bad man comes from the mind of a bad woman. You can only rely on yourself. With another punch, everything in the entire space, except for the bad woman, was turned into powder and ceased to exist. It's okay to hold each other back. Boom. Her calves suddenly exerted force, and she rushed towards the Youth Plus version of King Huo at top speed. Countless black threads appeared between her fingers, each one of which could cut the space into countless pieces. Before taking action, she said urgently, "He's going to die." She knew that today's battle was inevitable. Boom. Bad woman, go to hell, you bad thing. In an instant, she rose to level 200 to prepare for the upcoming battle. There is no woman in his heart, so he punches naturally. He is King Huo Tian. The sunny boy was very dissatisfied with Shura's reaction. A true straight man can punch domineeringly in the face of black stockings. After taking action for the third time, Yang Er finally recognized the opponent's identity. "I will fight you with level 200 strength." The bad woman flew out with her face like gold paper, vomiting blood and swearing. "If you die, in addition to your bank card, can I use your Wanwu Pavilion IOU?" The Sunshine Boy spoke again. Facing the bad woman's offensive, the Sunny Boy has only one response: punch. Boom. A punch hit the back of the bad woman's head, thunder exploded, and the whole person was blown away, like a lonely boat in the storm. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 250. In the training hall, Yebai looked at the men's bathroom for 5 minutes. He suddenly said, "Did it take too long for Second Master to go to the toilet?" Feng Dong was stunned for a moment and raised his brows. "Brother Bai, I don't want to worry about this." Zhao Lin added, "It's indeed too long. The Second Master has been in for 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Everyone looked at him. "Good guy, why don't you leave it here for a few seconds?" Yebai walked through the crowd and found a boy with red ears, and asked directly, "What did the Second Master tell you in the bathroom before?" "Second Master." The boy was stunned for a moment, then immediately realized what Yebai was talking about, and his face turned red. Oh, I. The boy hesitated and said, "She took out an iron rod from nowhere and said she wanted to sign with me, so I ran out." Listening to the other party's words, Yebai nodded. "Oh. The boy in front of me, no, I should say boy. It's a little too small, its body is as weak as a bean sprout, and it's still very immature. He doesn't look like he's 18 at all." Yebai looked at the men's room again, trying to communicate with Yingju. "Master Ju, I don't feel good." Yingju sneered, "You'll know if you go and see it. Look at the hammer, let's retreat, and let everyone disperse. How dangerous it is. Although I don't know what happened. But Yebai has a natural keen intuition for danger. His instinct told him not to go near the men's room. It's not that he's afraid of the big iron rod or the Second Master, but something else. Yebai didn't know what was inside, and didn't want to know. "Master Ninth, it's not the demons that are here to assassinate fake Shura, right? Come up and help Master Ninth." Facing Yebai's temptation, Yingju remained unmoved. Yebaixin figured it out. Excluding the demons, it's the human race's own people. Is it my enemy or Yang Er's enemy? Most likely Yang Er's. Yebai concentrated on staring at the men's room, mumbling something. Young adult mode, young adult mode. Be more diligent and arrange for a second awakening later. Young adults mode trial version has been activated. Live broadcast for you, Yang Yi vs Huo Tianwang. Yebai. The one who took action inside was actually King Huo Tianwang. Before the specific picture could be read out, Yebai asked in a low voice. "Master Ju, You know that King Huotian is beating your second son, right? Yingju did not deny it. I know. Ye Bai hesitated slightly and spoke again, then, don't you want to give me some advice? Yingju, I persuaded you. I advised him to be more aggressive. As long as he can't be beaten to death, he will beat him to death. Ye Bai. As expected of you, Master Ju. At this moment, the young adult mode trial version was officially launched. Ye Bai saw the scene he had dreamed of. In the bathroom, in front of the sink. A sunny boy was pressing the second master's head and punched him hard. A fist as big as a small casserole cost 12 yuan, and the second master was unable to fight back. Sunshine Youth Edition. Huo Tianwang said angrily, "Are you sure?" The bad woman rolled her eyes and asked weakly, "I'm going to say no. It's not Shura, and it's not a human being, then you can go and die." With that said, the big sunshine boy raised his fist again, intending to use the sunshine boxing technique. The bad woman suddenly came to her senses. "I am. Are you Shura?" Boom. Madman Huo's fist still came down. He asked in a tone that said he hates iron but cannot become steel. How can Shura be so weak? Ye Bai, who was watching from the side, silently took a step back. The sense of substitution is very strong, and I am already starting to panic. If he were to fight against Huo Tianwang in this state. When the thunder strikes, if King Huo Tian is still alive, Ye Bai will probably be the one who suffers. Being beaten so hard that she had no power to fight back, the bad woman was so angry that she wanted to scold her. If he is not Shura, he will be beaten to death. He is a Shura, and he still needs to be tortured. Is there any royal law? She has had enough of this life. She wishes she could raise her arms and shout, "Princes and generals will be happy." I called Ying 1 and Ying 3 back, and we all became sworn brothers in Daowen. We didn't want to be born in the same year, the same month, and the same day, but we just wanted them to die earlier than me. Gather 108 good figures, go to the Eternal Tower, and declare themselves king, rebelling against Master Ju. Feeling the other person's whims, the bad man still has the heart to make sarcastic remarks. I told you a long time ago that I should read less messy novels on weekdays, but you didn't listen. The sunny boy stepped on the shadow and snorted coldly. Sneaky thing, just like Laoju. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows. There is a saying, just a passerby, not a fight. Master Ju, can you bear this? Anyway, if it were me, I could bear it. Just as Ye Bai guessed, Master Ju could indeed see clearly what happened in the bathroom. Already drawing his sword. Feeling threatened, the big sunshine boy looked out fearfully, jumped out of the window without hesitation, and disappeared. This battle came and went suddenly. It is in line with the theme of the bathroom, come in a hurry and go in a hurry. The bad woman finally survived the ordeal and struggled to get up. The bad woman stumbled out of the bathroom, the wound on her forehead had solidified. Her physique is very special, and Huo Tianwang's previous methods were enough. It seemed like it was a blow to her, but in fact it was the bad man who took the blame for her. Bad women never take the blame. The corners of the bad woman's mouth were slightly raised, her eyes were full of disdain. What about Huo Tianwang, the second most powerful god of war in the human race? It's not like I haven't been able to beat my mother to death. Suddenly, there seemed to be immense pride rising from her heart. Puff. As long as you criticize Erya in private, we will be good brothers. What you were thinking just now was about going to the Eternal Tower together and becoming king on your own. At least he's at the level of god of war. The second master usually does a lot of evil. However, it didn't take long for them to adjust their mentality. A boy, who was neither from the SS level special training camp nor a student from Area C, appeared in the training hall. A chill rushed to the back of Ye Bai's head. He couldn't help but take a breath of cold air and felt his scalp numb. Ye Bai's expression was stunned, then he looked at Zhao Feet, and others, and asked. The kid I met in the bathroom before. Which school did he come from? He looked very handsome. Is he from your special training camp? The SS-level talent training camp students present all showed disappointed expressions. A 1.9-meter strong man walked out of the special training camp and said seriously. Ye Bai suddenly remembered something. Outside the emergency room, Ye Bai is active on the front line of eating melons. Before she could be proud of herself for even 5 seconds, the bad man's voice sounded in her heart again. It must be King Huo too. What's wrong with Shura? I don't know who is behind this. Obviously, the SS-level special training camp has been hard for Yi for a long time. That child shouldn't. There are some rules in the summer camp that cannot be triggered, and you are not allowed to move between areas at will. Even the children of the god of war are not qualified to sneak into the summer camp. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. What kid? Correct. She couldn't hear the rest of the words clearly. Everyone looked around and couldn't find any sign of the child. Is there anyone like this in our area? See? I am the youngest in the special training camp. Doctor. A well-trained doctor, the second master is down. I sent it to Master Ju, but Master Ju said that your year-end bonus was gone, and he also gave me a reporting bonus of 200 for God of War merit. Soon, the instructor said that the second master was not in danger and would recover soon. A mouthful of black blood welled up in her throat. The bad woman rolled her eyes and passed out. It's quite a beating. Everyone shook their heads, expressing no impression. The students from District C also joined in the topic of complaining about the second master. The two sides got into a heated fight for a while, and their friendship was unbreakable.